Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the Marvel Contest of Champions news show.
Attuma and Shuri are getting a buff, which is great news. Bandwave comes to Battlegrounds, but this hasn't fixed the issue of matchmaking and progression and a stench of the Gladiator circuit affecting players. And also sticking with Battlegrounds, are there improvements coming to this particular game mode? We damn hope it will be. The state of the battle realm has changed. We'll look at something that Kabam have added in and so much more. Yes, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another MCN kicking off your week. I haven't changed anything with the setup that I was going to do. That's because I've had a very busy weekend. So I'm hoping to do it tomorrow if I'm not too busy, which life is always busy before you know it. But I need to do Battlegrounds grinding. I need to do a few other things. So yeah, gonna get on with that grinding, that live streaming and stuff like that. And also got a few videos I want to explore, some really kind of interesting topics, some changes in trends when it comes to alliances and stuff like that. Some really kind of cool topics. So yeah, follow the channel, hit the like button, subscribe with post notifications on all, and follow on social media, Twitter link in the description down below, as well as the Discord. Next up, and we've got issues. Okay, we've got issues with bugs and problems with Alliance Wars. Leaderboards is the thing at the moment. So I think a lot of this dropped on Friday. I wouldn't expect Kabam to work on something late on Friday to get this kind of resolved. Currently in game at the moment, because you know people don't work weekends, so I try not to work weekends. You can see at the moment it doesn't give you like your rank, your current bracket, etc. So and also when you click on the leaderboard, it doesn't even like give you any stuff. It says please check back later on. And yeah, this was kind of like dropped late on Friday. The most kind of like up-to-date update was on Friday saying we'll have the team look into this now. Thanks everyone. And then I think from there, there's nothing else. I don't think this is anything to kind of like be worried about. It's just a case of like, well, as long as your score is there, it's going to be fine for your alliance to eventually get, when it's like fixed, to see the correct score, unless there's a bigger issue. We did talk about something recently where Kabam had to change some ratings because some ratings had been affected from the off season. I'm not going to assume and say that this could be something that's kind of affected this particular system, and it could break and ruin the season. We don't know that yet, so jumping to those conclusions is a thing you shouldn't do. So we'll wait and see what Kabam say about it. And to be honest, by the time later on today comes and Kabam are in the office, I suspect they'll probably fix it, but we'll have to see later on. And now let's talk about the state of the battle realm. State of the battle realm, as you know, previously had these kind of like weird linking things, which kind of like alluded to new characters that were coming into Marvel Contest of Champions, going, okay, well, association and placement by this. Kabam have gone for a very different way of doing this, and I don't know if this is because they want to spice it up, just kind of like, I don't know, get a better way of predicting. This could be the way. So nowadays, when you look at the state of the battle realm, it's going to look a bit like this, where honeycomb type linking could be a thing. Some of it kind of would technically work, some of it doesn't. No, it's not that thing, but again. State of the battle realm is what we're going to talk about now, and the Kabam have changed the way that it is seen for you. Normally there's these kind of like weird linking things and kind of associations with different areas. This time it's got like characters that are kind of near one another, and I'll be doing some predictions at some stage. I can imagine that a lot of people have already done their predictions. But yeah, it'd be interesting to kind of like deep dive what we think is coming next, especially based on association events that are coming. They've got all the different type of classes, You've got science, which we've got some of the just various characters kind of like could be kind of associated with another. I'm not gonna I'm thinking now like, okay, well, that could be that could be that. I could put there, you could put there. Hellstrom, I'll put there. Lots of different things you could just think, oh, that character could go there. We've got big kind of like Excel based characters. Associations there could be with like stuff with Kamatage. The list goes on, really. You could just kind of like spend a day just going, oh, that could be that one, that could be that one, that could go there. But to do that at some later stage, just kind of like put together. This is going to be the most exciting one, I think. Mutants, especially for me, it's going to be mutants. Is there a new X-Force member coming into that particular slot on the bottom left? Is there going to be some sort of like new Wolverine-based character? I still like the idea of Dakin. Is it going to be something new that's going to be associated right there? Is it going to be like, I'm looking at that and going Mystique. I'm not gonna lie, But I'll maybe kind of look at something in a video to kind of like create for this. And now we turn our attention to good news and champion buffs. So the balance team have identified that there needs to be a buff for Attuma. Attuma, despite some unique utility and tricky defense abilities, our review of Attuma's fight so far has shown that he is underperforming compared to targets in a few areas. This defender's strengths attributes top tier, but fairly wide number of champions are having good success against him across game modes. We have specific goals with changes, which is to increase the defense threat of his tough Talakanil skin, add some damage and accessibility to his attack loop. Though we are still working on the exact changes that will let him bring the full power of the seas to the battle realm. Key points of interest are the base chance for his rough Talakanil skin damage, the duration of his cruelty passives, and a faster access to concussion to enhance the rest of his abilities. Cool. Shuri, on the other hand, and based on the evaluation of Shuri's performance in the battle realm so far, we're also going to look at making some tune-ups to her kit. While Shuri's damage is quite potent, once her full ramp up gets going, we're seeing low damage output across most of our game modes, notably for more dynamic and more complex pieces of content. So the goals: reduce the investment needed to reach full ramp, and reduce the difficulty of maintaining her shock effects. We'll be taking a look at our current stack limit, shock effects, duration, and the potency of the intention of bringing up her base DPS. It's more of a complex encounters, and simplify her upkeep once ramped. Fantastic. So that's good news. It looks like April to May. Attuma and Shuri's changes will hit the CCP beta. Always weird that it's CCP and why it can't be for everybody having access to this. It's kind of weird because you think at times Kabam go, oh, well, we need everybody to give data for this rather than it just feeling like it's specific. I thought Kabam liked more data. I like more people kind of giving feedback and information. In any case, 40.0 June, Attuma and Shuri released with their new changes. So that's good news. Good news for all. Now we've got to get to the most important story of today. There's lots to go over with Battlegrounds. Battlegrounds seems to be something that is a regular thing in the MCN at the moment. Just for, I'd say, is it the good, the bad, and the ugly? It's good because it's a great game mode. It's bad because it's still in a beta, and it's ugly because some of the bugs are just not addressed and looked at, and issues associated. It's always very difficult doing a PvP mode because when people cheat, it is how it affects you as a player. It affects your time, which is incredibly valuable to any person. Your time is incredibly valuable. Right, that's number one. Your resources are very valuable. And there's two resources a lot of the time that players are sinking into this. Elder Marks, well, three actually. Elder Marks, Victory Shields, and Energy. All those things do not get refunded to you as a player if you were cheated on, or there's a bug, or there's a problem. There's all these things at the moment that make a game mode that I do like this game mode. It's taken a long time to sell this game mode to me, but I am enjoying it. But there are issues. And this is one of the key things. We talked about last week about time investment to what you get back from that particular mode. And there was something of a video, great video by the way. I'll put a link to it in the description. It is for MCOC Al Bundy rules, right? This particular video, interesting video, and it goes over the sus accounts in Gladiator circuit. Now, I'm not 100% sure if a lot of these people are cheating, but there are some suspicions that they would be. And there are people cheating, by the way. I'm not saying that aren't. It's just a case of predominantly, and even what Kabam found out is that people were cheating. We're going to go over this particular response from Kabam Jax in a minute, and especially to kind of go over. I mean, look, we've had new people in. We've had that kind of anti-cheat that's in place. It seems to be because of the work that it did last month. Remember, we talked about a particular player that had been banned incorrectly because of this anti-cheat. But in any case, one of the kind of key things right here is that bans happen in waves, not continually all the time. So, you might be seeing a lot of people in Gladiators track, in Gladiator circuit. But again, here's the thing. People are, and it's great to know that people are being banned, but it's how it affects other people. If you're going up against a cheater and you are cheated by the system, again, you're not getting refunded back what you were cheated against when you invest into it. Your energy, your victory shield, your Elder Marks. look, you can't get refunded time. That would be great if Kabam could refund my time for bugs and problems that happen with their game. That would be fantastic. I would probably have so much more time in my life, but you're not going to get it. Anyway, system that bans cheaters and system that removes them from the leaderboard is not the same system, and as we've talked about before, it takes some time to remove those accounts visibly from the leaderboards. But on the plus side, it looks like there was very quick to action where watching the video and the first 10 accounts mentioned in the video, literally every single one of them was banned by our sweep today. So Kabam's done a sweep and those particular accounts have gone. It's sort of cringe, isn't it, to note that there's people each and every season are specifically creating accounts just to flood through like Victory Track and Gladiator Circuit, and what kind of bans they are. Like we talked about before, the idea of like what kind of extent of bans, because if a player is able to kind of still blast through Victory Track, they still got the rewards you get from Victory Track, they got the trophy tokens through Victory Track, they got the reinvestment purposes from Victory Track. It's now coming to a point where you have to look at how extensive these bans are, and is it coming to a point of permanent ban for those accounts that have cheated? Because it's just what this damage does to the ecosystem of an account creation versus why people do it. It's so, honestly, I just can't fathom why you'd want to create an account just for that purpose. I mean, it may be a case just to sell the account on at a later date, which people are just doing it as some sort of merc service based thing. God only knows nowadays. In any case, let's read on what the response is from Kabam on this. So yeah, we have stated before that matchmaking is constantly being evaluated and there's adjustments being planned for coming seasons, so better matchmaking may be coming. We've seen the constant conversation in the forums over the last month plus. It is, however, worth noting that there's not been a single suggestion that everyone has unanimously agreed on, and with this solution doesn't seem have a solution to appease everyone, and therein lies the challenge. Fair matchmaking is defined differently by everyone, and some cases summoners demand fair matchmaking are asking for matchmaking that best suits them. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could say yes and no with that. With creation, I always think that if you can't create a game mode and then blame the summoners for how it's constructed. It's you that build it. Like if Command builds something, you have to kind of trust in them that they've built something that's good and functional. The same thing with, like, you'd hope that the game mode doesn't have bugs, and it has bugs. The same way that you'd hope that the game doesn't have dropped inputs, where other games do not have dropped inputs, or have better inputs for the compatibility across various different types of devices. That's just something that you kind of like have to give hope, and we all hope that Kabam can make sure that we get a Battleground season that doesn't have any kind of issues and bugs. It may not happen anytime soon because the game mode still feels like it's in a beta, in its infancy. And I think, did I even say that actually, and say that it's the game mode's in its infancy? It is still in its infancy. It's like they've got a lot of work still to do with it, and this is a telling sign. Matchmaking is still something that how you kind of fit. I do agree with Kabam on that. How they've put together a matchmaking is going to be very difficult to do, to get it right, but there's also things that you can do to alleviate people's problems. Like, as you could create an algorithm in place where you just go, okay, well, if somebody wins 3 matches in a row, then they will face off against somebody who's won 3 matches in a row. The same thing as well that you'd go off against if you've lost 3 games in a row, that you'll face off against each other as 2 players that have kind of not been playing so well in theory, and so it's basically like 2 losers facing off against one another. So you could do all these kind of like little things with that. You could then look at more algorithmic things based on performance, a multiplier similar to Alliance Wars, where if you're particularly playing well, you get a higher multiplier, which gives you more. This is what the disappointing thing, we don't have points, and it's all these kind of shield things to go up, because then you could kind of like look with points to get you over a certain point of a threshold. I think there's a lot of things Kabam could be doing and think outside the box, and maybe they've even thought about this stuff, and maybe it's a case of just like throwing it past the community to vote on how you feel like a matchmaking system would work, especially if Kabam don't know what they want to put out for the game mode they created. So yeah, sticky situation still, but lots can be done. The final part is a very interesting part because it's said here by Kabam. I don't know if this it's probably via Kabam Jackson. We've also chatted how Battlegrounds is the first mode that isn't meant to be 100% of the time. Every other game mode, excluding Alliance Wars, you dedicate time and energy, and you'll end up with a W in the end because you are head-to-head with the other summoners. Inevitably, 50% of your losing, and it's completely reasonable that the shift in gameplay mentality causes discomfort and frustration. The reason it causes discomfort and frustration is because there are more things at play. I think simply putting that is incorrect, without kind of going a bit further to explain what we've just talked about. The matchmaking, yes, needs to kind of feel like you're kind of like, you know, going into a match going, oh, great, this is going to be a fun one. But also the other elements, the bugs, the problems that are attributed to the particular mode, but also rewards. Rewards are attached to this particular mode. The time investment is so important because the further you go, obviously the further you win, the further you go, the further you get. The trophy tokens you get, the amount of rewards that you can pick up on a monthly basis or season basis. So time investment plays heavily into this. So discomfort and frustration is going to come part and parcel when rewards are at the end of it in order to go and grind out. But also, discomfort and frustration is also going to be when there's meta shifts and having to rank up champions for the particular mode shifts. I do like new metas, but at the same time, it's tough because then you're like, well, what do I field for this? Do I field 5-star versions of champions or 6-star rank 2s? Do I rank up champions to 6-star rank 3s? Yeah, I suppose I'll get to use a champion that I don't normally use, but at the same time, you've got to find those rank up resources, and you might feel a bit pressured into ranking up something that you may not be a particular big fan of in order to kind of appease the victory track meta or even the gladiator circuit meta at the same time. But yeah, it is encouraging, as Wolfman says that. It's encouraging to note that matchmaking is being looked at and that we can see maybe in the future some stuff is dealt with. But yeah, now none of this is in defense to the current matchmaking. Like I said, there are adjustments in the works. These are simply a few additional considerations on the topic. That's nice. I appreciate that from Kabam to say that none of this is in defense of the current matchmaking. So sorry in a roundabout way to people about the current state of matchmaking. But yeah, hopefully it's a case that's dealt with. Looks like cheaters are being kind of like dealt a hand on stuff. But as I said, you just don't get... This is the thing about... I'd love a anti-cheat system to recognize when a player has been cheated on and look to refund them energy, elder marks, if they've spent them, and /or victory shields. Because then it's kind of like felt like you've kind of like invested that incorrectly against someone who's cheated you. I'm sure people say no to the victory shield, but you know, it just sucks to be cheated on it. And now we end the show on arena predictions and results. Now, sadly, we don't have a lot of information for the Small Wonder Wasp Arena. Do check back later on because we retweet, and also go and check out Project Summoner as well. We'll retweet the results later over on Twitter, so go and check that out. But the results are as follows: 50 mil got position 77, and then we've got 105 position with 41 mil, and then 22 mil 298. And then we've got 238 with 18 mil. So like, yeah, it's very odd arena. Arena's very odd at the moment. But maybe this is like, I mean, it's very weird. Like Quicksilver recently went, Gallon recently went, but Human Torch. I guess a lot of people are really interested in that champion. I mean, it is a great champion, to be honest. And a lot of people would have gone. So maybe I should have done higher predictions than what I said. I think it was like 35 to 40 mil, but it was a lot more. Yeah, it's a lot more. So yeah, 45 mil plus seems to be where the kind of prediction is for round 2. 5 stars still stick with 12 mil. It's probably going to be around that. But yeah, it's probably going to be around that. 6-star Wasp, don't know, but I'll go with 110. 5-star Wasp, don't know, but I'll go with 25 mil. We just don't know yet. As I said, I'll retweet later on over on Twitter the results from Project Summoner, who's collected that stuff. And there we go. That has been the show. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to those that support the channel as a YouTube member and as a Patreon, who are on screen right now. Also, those on twitch.tv/RichTheMan live. I've got a few more videos to kind of like work on MCOC wise, so I'm looking forward to kind of like getting back to work, as last week I've been working solely for the games dev that I work for. So yeah, it's been looking forward to getting back and doing some MCOC based content. Cheers everybody, have a great day whatever you're doing. Check out some other content that's located on screen right now, and I'll see you all very soon. Much love and goodbye.